Hello students, welcome to NAC Biology. This is Neelavati, your biology lecturer. So today we are going to start a new chapter of a new unit that is nothing but plant physiology. Many students feels it is quite difficult unit. Plant physiology, not difficult, it is quite confusing unit. But don't worry, we'll make it easy. So the first chapter of plant physiology is what? The transport in plants. So what do you mean by transport in plants? The transportation of materials, that's what. So if you consider it is a plant, obviously this is the stem part and these are the roots and these are the leaves, right? So we have understood the structure of a plant, everything we know it. So these are the branches. Now the question is, the food is going to form here in the leaf itself. How it is going to be transmitted or transported up to the root? And at the same time, some trees or some plants are very huge. But we are going to pour water only to the root part, not on the surface or not from the tip of the plant. But how it is possible for the plant to take the water till the tip, that is up to the leaf? It has to move against the gravity, right? It is totally difficult for the movement of any molecules to against the gravity. How it is possible? And if the process of transportation is occurring between the cell itself, very nearly are the cells which are so present near itself, that is at short distance itself, how it is able to form or how it is possible. So in this chapter, we'll seek answer for all these questions. It is very interesting chapter. At the same time, it is very important also, both for your board exam and NEET exam. And one more important information I need to give here. So before starting this chapter, you better watch plant anatomy once. Okay. The link of plant anatomy chapter is appearing above because some topic is relevant to the plant anatomy. Relevant in the sense, if you have a basic idea regarding the structure of the root, that is anatomical structure of the root and all, it is easy for you to understand. That's why. Okay. So now I will write what are the topics that we are going to cover here in this chapter. Let's see that. Total, you are going to get 6 videos in this chapter. One is the first video that today what we are going to do is means of transport. Actually, we can also call it as short distance water transport. Okay. Short distance water transport or short distance transport mechanism. So here we'll study what are the different means of transport through which the molecules like a water, minerals, ions can able to move from cell to cell. That is within a short distance, like a diffusion, osmosis, all those things will cover here in this part, that is the means of transport. This is actually basic. These 2 videos are basic videos. If you won't understand these 2 videos or these 2 concepts, then it is difficult for you to understand the remaining. So that's why don't neglect any videos. Okay. And the second video will do plant-water relations. This is quite confusing part. So initially I am telling it is quite confusing. If you won't focus properly, if you won't concentrate properly, you feel definitely difficult to understand the remaining things. So please watch carefully and make a note while watching. So here we'll cover water potential. Many topics will cover here. Water potential, solute potential, pressure potential, and will also perform osmosis experiment. Okay, so osmotic pressure, many things, many topics will cover, and based on this topic also again you will get many questions in the NEET. So it's very important video. These 2 are basic videos, students. And the next thing is long distance water transport. So that is what I told. We are going to pour water to the root, not to the tip of the plant. And how it is going to take, transport to the entire plant part. This is by long distance water transport. So here we'll cover 2 concepts. One is root pressure and another one is transpiration pull. Okay. So in this video we'll cover these 2 topics. And transpiration, that is obviously the water loss. Even if you pour 1 bucket of water to the plant, it utilizes only a little amount. The remaining water will get escape in the form of vapor. That process we call it as transpiration. How it takes place, what are the different structures, what is stomata, everything we'll study in this video. Then uptake and transport of mineral nutrients. Of course, this process also takes place through xylem only, but here certain things we need to understand here. So that part will cover in this video, and the last video is about the phloem. Okay, so phloem is a food conducting tissue. How the food will be translocated from leaves to the roots, or from the roots to leaves even. Okay, how it is possible, what is source, what is sink, what is pressure flow hypothesis, everything. Okay, so don't neglect any video of this chapter. All these videos are very, very important. Okay, so okay, then let's not waste the time. Come, let's start. Now let's talk about different means of transport. First, let me draw a flow chart, and after that we'll explain one by one. Okay, means of transport. Basically, we can classify the mode of transport or the transport of materials in the plants in two categories. One is passive transport, another one is active transport. Passive transport and active transport. Okay, so here passive transport means without expenditure of energy. The molecules are simply moving silently, right? So here, without energy, without expenditure of energy, and they are following concentration gradient. I will explain what is the meaning of this term. And they follow concentration gradient. And here in the active transport, it is dead opposite to this. That means here it use ATP, that is energy expenditure takes place, and they move against the concentration gradient. Okay, against the concentration gradient. You will come to understand the meaning of these terms once we start explaining the terms one by one. Okay, within passive transport, again there are two types. One is simple diffusion. And the second one is facilitated diffusion. So in the facilitated diffusion, facilitated means somebody is facilitating for the movement of the molecules. Okay, so here who is facilitating here? The proteins. So if the proteins are like a channels, so that it will allow the movement of the molecules, we call them as channel proteins. Or if the proteins are protein molecules, they can change their shape so that the molecules can able to move from one side to another side of the cell. We call it as carrier proteins. Right? So now we have to understand the meaning of these terms. One is passive transport. Passive transport means just now I told. So within that we have to understand about the diffusion. Then the second one is facilitated diffusion, and the third one is active transport. So these are three different mode of transport takes place in the plant body. Okay, now let's discuss about simple diffusion. Let's imagine here is a cell. This is our plant cell. Okay, so plant cell, this is the plasma membrane of a plant cell, and plasma membrane is surrounded by a cell wall. Right, it is a cell wall. Now one more cell is present near to this. One more cell, this is the cell wall, and here is the plasma membrane. Right? Now the molecules like oxygen is there, carbon dioxide is there, carbon dioxide present inside, even oxygen is present inside. There are many water molecules are present. Water molecules are there. There are so many glucose molecules, fructose molecules, ions like potassium, sodium. So many things are there, present both inside and outside the cell. Okay, are you getting my point? Now these are acting like a barrier, but this cell wall, let me mark it as a cell wall. So the molecule easily diffuse from the cell wall. It is not selectively permeable. Whereas the plasma membrane is very, very selectively permeable. It will choose which one has to move inside or which one has to move outside the cell. It is very, very selective because it is made up of a phospholipid. We have understand the structure of a plasma membrane, right? It is made up of phospholipid molecule. So it is having one polar head and it will be having a tail. So this polar head is hydrophilic, that is water loving, whereas this one tail part is water hating. That means it hate water, means it love lipid, or lipophilic. It is lipophilic or hydrophobic. So now the molecule has to diffuse through this phospholipid molecule. Okay, so it will not allow larger water molecules. It is not allowing certain glucose, fructose, and not even allow the ions. Then how these molecules can able to move inside and outside the cell? So for that purpose, these molecules have made some way to get inside the cell with the help of proteins. Like that, there are certain molecules like oxygen, carbon dioxide, and small water droplets. They do not have any barrier. They can easily cross this plasma membrane. So while crossing this, they have to focus on their concentration. Where the concentration is more, from there to lower concentration, they can jump. Okay, so such type of movement of molecules, we call it as diffusion. That is simple diffusion. It do not take the help of anybody. It can pass as it is. That means it can cross the plasma membrane, right? So now let me explain how actually diffusion is taking place here. So this is a plasma membrane. We need not to worry about the cell wall because cell wall can easily allow all the material to get inside and outside. Okay, so this is the plasma membrane. It consisting of bilayer of lipid. Hope you remember. This is lipid bilayer. It's arranged like this, right? Now let's imagine there are plenty of oxygen molecules present inside. This is the oxygen. So these are oxygen molecules. There are plenty outside the cell. But there are very few oxygen molecules present inside the cell. Now, through this plasma membrane, that is, they can able to cross this lipid bilayer easily from their region of higher concentration. This is actually higher concentration region, right? This is lower concentration. So they can cross the plasma membrane, the lipid bilayer, from the region of higher concentration to the region of lower concentration. Like that. Suppose if we have more number of or more concentration of carbon dioxide inside the cell, now it has to go out. Then here very less amount of carbon dioxide. Then what happens? Here it can easily cross the plasma membrane from the region of higher concentration to the region of lower concentration. Like that, even the smaller droplet of water, because the larger droplets will not be able to pass through this lipid bilayer, because we know that the tail hates water. The tail do not want to touch the water molecule. It just says, no, I don't want you because I hate water. But it can touch the head part. So that's why what these smaller droplets will do, without touching the tail, they can easily diffuse through it. So such type of diffusion or such type of movement of the molecule, we call it as what? Simple diffusion. This is known as simple diffusion. That is the movement of molecules from the region of higher concentration to the region of lower concentration. Okay, here no energy expenditure is taking place. That means no ATP, no use of ATP. So this is one point you have to remember, and this one point you have to remember. Right? Here, nobody is mediating for the movement of the molecules. No proteins are involving, because we know that the plasma membrane consists not only bilayer lipid, it also consists certain integral proteins as well as certain superficial proteins. But here do not require any proteins help. They can easily cross. Okay, but it is not actually specific. It is not telling that only oxygen has to diffuse, only carbon dioxide have to diffuse. It is not like that. Anybody can diffuse through it from the region of higher concentration to the region of lower concentration only based on the concentration gradient. Concentration gradient means where higher concentration, from there to lower concentration side, the molecules are diffusing. So actually diffusion, it is not only in gaseous molecule, it can also happen in the liquid. Okay, say for example, if you have a beaker, right, and in the beaker you have water, just imagine like that. Now if you just put a drop of ink, if you have just put a ink drop, red ink, okay, what happened? These red inks start diffusing in the water molecules, the entire water start getting red color. Why? Because the red concentration is more in this droplet compared to the water. So molecules start diffusing slowly. And diffusion is a slow process. Remember it. Diffusion is a slow process. It would be a neat question. Diffusion can occur in gaseous state. It can occur in gaseous state. It can occur in liquid state, but not in the solid. Okay, if we have this pen is a solid, if we have a big pen, so that the molecules, the atoms which are so present in this pen may be more compared to this. Let's assume like this. If I just put it over, it won't diffuse from this region to this region, right? In the solid state, the molecules do not diffuse, right? And one more thing we have to remember here is, of course it is slow process, of course it can happen in gaseous and liquid state. It is not dependent on living system. Okay, so for the movement of the molecule, it doesn't mean the cell should be in a living condition. Even in the dead cells also, the molecules can diffuse easily, right? Say for example, a gaseous molecule. Suppose in this room, if I just spray the perfume, okay, so it need not to be in a living condition or into a living state. The molecule can easily diffuse in the air, isn't it? So these are certain points that you have to remember in simple diffusion. Okay, hope you understood this. Now let's move on to facilitated diffusion. Next one, facilitated diffusion. Once again, the same points how we have followed in diffusion process, the same thing we have to follow here also. The molecules will move. The molecules move from region of higher concentration to lower concentration, obviously. Higher to lower concentration. Okay. Without use of ATP. Without ATP. But only difference is, here it needs somebody's help. They cannot move as it is. They need somebody has to facilitate their movement. So here, that facilitator is nothing but a protein molecules. The protein molecules which are so present in our plasma membrane, they are facilitating them. Okay. Say for example, this is the plasma membrane, correct? This is the lipid bilayer. Now, I have a glucose molecule. This is what the glucose molecule is. Now I am asking this glucose molecule is asking this lipid bilayer, shall I cross this lipid bilayer? But this lipid bilayer is not allowing this. So what happened? Here protein molecules are present. This is the protein. So this protein is having a pathway. Are you getting my point? Through this pathway, it is facilitating this glucose molecule to pass through it. Okay. So it is not differentiating anybody. Okay. Anyhow, lipid bilayer is not allowing you. Don't worry. I am facilitating you so that you can get inside the cell. So with the help of this protein, the glucose molecule can easily enter inside the cell. Okay. But these proteins are very, very specific. If they are committed to this glucose molecule to move through it, then it will not allow anybody else to this. Okay. Like say for example, if the fructose is there. If it is committed to the glucose, then it will not allow the fructose to pass through it. So for the movement of the fructose, there is a separate channel proteins. Okay, there are separate protein molecules are present. Through this protein molecule, the fructose can pass. That means the proteins are very, very specific. Very, very specific. So these protein can be of two types. It can be channel proteins. It can be carrier protein. Okay, it can be channel protein. Suppose if we have a path, through this path, the molecules can move. We call it as a channel protein, so that even after the movement of the molecules, the shape remains same only. It will not change its shape. So such type of protein, we call it as a channel protein. There are another protein molecule is present here. Okay. Say for example here. Let's imagine here is a protein. So this is a kind of protein. So this protein have the capacity to accept the molecule. Say for example, a molecule is present here, it come and bind here to this protein. Then automatically it will change its shape. It will change its shape and it just rotate downwards, and it will just leave the molecule which is so carrying. Okay, the carried molecule will be entered inside. So such type of proteins we call it as carrier protein. This is a carrier protein. It can have the capacity to change its shape. Once again, this is also very specific. Okay, but the one problem lies with the protein is that they can reach to saturation. Okay, say for example, at a time it can bind 2 or 3 molecules, means they can allow the 2 or 3 molecules to get inside. Suppose at a time if plenty of molecules come and bind there, it is not possible. Okay, they can reach to saturation. This is one point. And another point is, it is very sensitive to inhibitor. Say for example, here one inhibitor is there. This is the inhibitor. So this inhibitor, if it binds over the channel protein, then molecules cannot move through it. Even if it is come and bind to this carrier protein, the molecule cannot bind to this. Okay, so the proteins can reach to saturation. The proteins can be saturated, and the proteins are very sensitive to inhibitors. Okay, hope you understood this much. And now, channel proteins over, carrier proteins over. One more protein molecule is present, which is meant for the movement of water molecule. Say for example, let me show here only. Imagine we have plenty of water. Plenty of water is there inside the cell. Now this water molecule has to exit out. But it cannot pass through the lipid bilayer, because I told that larger molecules are larger droplets of water cannot pass through the lipid bilayer because the tail hate water. So by that time, there are special protein channels are present. We call it as water channels. See, here is our water channel. Imagine this is a water channel. I am just writing proteins side by side, but it won't lie like this. Remember the structure of plasma membrane. These proteins are present in between the lipid bilayer. They are not present continuously like this. I am just showing you just to make you understand, right? Now, let's imagine this is a water channel. This water channel is made up of different type of protein molecule. We call them as aquaporins. Say for example, this is one aquaporin. This is another aquaporin. Okay, like that. This is another aquaporin. This is another aquaporin. This one. Like that, there are 8 aquaporins are present, which are of different types. Okay, this entire molecule is nothing but water channel, and it is made up of 8 different aquaporins. It would be a neat question. 8 different aquaporins. Okay, whether the water channel consisting of similar aquaporins or different type of aquaporins, or how many aquaporins are present. So like that questions it may come in the NEET exam. Okay, so be clear with the word 8 different aquaporins. So now with the help of this water channel, the water molecules can move in a large quantity. Okay, it can move inside to outside, or it can move from outside to inside. So it can happen. So these are some of the protein molecules which facilitate for the movement of the molecules. Okay, and in the case of bacteria and in mitochondria and in chloroplast, because we know that we have understood the endosymbiotic theory, right? Endosymbiotic theory says what? There was a big prokaryote, there was a small prokaryote. The big prokaryote engulfed the small prokaryote. So such a small prokaryotes are nothing but the mitochondria, chloroplast, right? So once upon a time, these small prokaryotes are nothing but prokaryotes only. Now they are becoming a cell organelles inside a eukaryotic cell. So that's why whatever the features or what are all the features that we are going to find in a bacteria, that is a prokaryotic cell, the same features we are going to find even in the mitochondria as well as in the chloroplast. Say for example, if you consider this is a bacterial cell, and this bacterial cell, if in the transmembrane, if there is a large protein is there or a large pore is there, imagine this is a pore. Through this pore, the movement of the molecule is taking place inside and outside the cell. Such pores, we call it as a porins. Porins. So these porins are even found in mitochondria and chloroplast. Not only in bacteria, not only in bacterial cell, because earlier mitochondria and chloroplast were also considered as prokaryotes only, right? So once again, this would be a NEET question also. Where do we find the porins? Porins are transmembrane pores, large pores which are present on the bacteria as well as in the mitochondria and chloroplast. Okay, hope you understood this much. Now we'll talk about the facilitated diffusion, how the molecules are moving, whether they are moving at the same time or in a different times, or whether they are moving in a bulk or moving singly, right? So take the screenshot. Now we have understood what exactly the facilitated diffusion means. That means with the help of a protein, the molecules are moving inside the cell as well as outside the cell. Okay, they are very, very specific. Whether it is a channel protein or it is a certain other molecular proteins or whatever, they are very, very specific. They are sensitive to inhibitor. They can reach to saturation. Now, within the channel proteins, within the facilitated proteins, we can see the 3 types of proteins there. Okay, based on their movement. See, let me make you understand with a very simple example. Let's imagine this is a campus, this is a school campus, right? Now, this is having 3 gates. This is one gate. This is one gate. This is another gate. This is another gate. This is gate 3. This is gate 1. This is gate 2. This is gate 3. Now, let me tell you one small logic story. This gate 1 is very, very specific. Of course, all the 3 gates are very, very specific. But the gate 1 is allowing only one person. Say for example, he is a person A. He is person A. So this gate is allowing only this person to get inside. It will allow only A to get inside and it will allow only the A to come outside. Even if so many members are there inside this campus, it will not allow anybody to go out. And it will not allow anybody to get inside also. It is specifically meant for only a person. Are you getting my point? It is singly, it is independent. It is not depending on anybody else. Only one can get inside, specifically A, and he can go outside. This is one gate. And another gate is that this gate is once again quite special. It is meant for 2 members. Say for example, here one person is there and here another person is there. Even if this person come early and if you want to go inside, then this gate will not opening for him. This gate is not allowing only one person. It is waiting for another one. Are you getting my point? Of course, this gate is specific for these two members. This member B and this is C. If B comes to enter through the gate, it is not allowing him. It is telling that, wait, let C to come. When C comes, then both can go together. Both can go together. Okay? And at the same time, see, the B entered here and C entered here inside. Now they want to go outside. They are not, this gate is not opening these two members to go out separately. Once again, it is telling you can, both of you can go out together. Okay, whether you come inside or whether you can go outside, but you have to come together or you have to go together. Okay, this is what the condition of this gate. And now what is the condition of the third gate? The third gate is quite different. Of course, it is also meant for specific person. Here is a person D and he can go inside. Let me tell you, here one more person is there, D, F. He can come outside, but once he get inside, by the same time, he has to come outside. Say for example, I am D. I am going inside. At the same time, the F has to come out. F has to come out. Both of us has to face together. We have to face each other. Then only the gate will open, so that you have to go inside and outside simultaneously. One can go inside, one can come outside. Okay, so that means in the opposite direction, both can move inside and outside. This is what the condition of this gate. Are you getting my point? So now let us give the name for these gates in a different names. So this gate, we call it as a uniport. This movement we call it as a uniport. Uni means single. Uni means single. Only single person can get inside. Only single person can come outside. Specific. And this is simultaneously or same direction. They have to move in the same direction. Two molecules can move same direction inside or outside. We call it as symport. Here, once again, this gate is also meant for two person or two molecules, if we consider it as a two molecule, but in an opposite direction. That is called antiport. Antiport. Anti means opposite. Sim means same. Uni means single. Okay, this is meant for one molecule. This is meant for two molecule. This is meant for two molecule. Okay, all are following concentration gradient. Okay, all are following concentration gradient. If these two molecules concentration is more inside, then it will not allow to get inside. Okay, so with the help of proteins. Now let's compare the same scenario with the cell membrane. That means the proteins which are also present in the cell membrane, they are facilitating the movement of these molecules, right? So this is what the plasma membrane, lipid bilayer. So this is what the protein molecules, channel proteins or carrier proteins, whatever. So here, if this protein allowing only one molecule to get inside, say for example, if the sodium is present, if it is meant only for the sodium, means it is not allowing somebody else. It is not allowing glucose, it is not allowing fructose, it is not allowing potassium or anything. Okay, it is meant only for the sodium. He can move inside or he can go outside. Such type of movement is known as what? Uniport. We have understood the term uniport. Now there are special proteins are there. Say for example, one more protein is present here. This protein is allowing two molecules to get inside. A can come inside, B can come inside. Okay, in one direction they can get inside. At the same time, if they want to go out, A and B has to move together in the same direction. Okay, either they have to come in or they have to go out. Movement of the molecules through the protein going or taking place in the same direction is known as what? Symport. This is called symport. These are all facilitated diffusion only. Okay, the movement of the molecule is occurring through protein help. And one more protein is there. One more protein is there. Which is that? Antiport. Molecule can move from outside inside to outside. Or say for example D is moving from inside to outside, or it is allowing F to outside to inside, but simultaneously in the opposite direction. This is called antipode. Antipode. So these are different types of movement which found in facilitated diffusion. Okay, now it is very, very clear, I think. Now let's move on to active transport. Active transport, trust me, it is very, very simple, nothing to worry. Active transport. Active transport. Okay. This is a campus. This is the gate. Okay. Here is a watchman. Here is a watchman. He is looking like a butler, but he is a watchman. Okay, fine. Now, here so many students are there. So many girls are there. But very few boys are there. Very few boys are there. Outside, very few girls are there. Very few girls are there. But more boys are there. More boys. So, they are boys, they are girls. Okay, red colors are girls, these black colors are nothing but the boys. Now, all girls want to get inside, but this watchman is not allowing them. Like that, all boys want to go outside, again the watchman is not allowing, because he is telling we have to maintain the concentration, because already more girls are inside, so how can I allow you girls to get inside once again? Like that, the same thing applies even for the boys. Already more boys are outside. How can I allow further to move out? Okay, so he is very strict officer. He is not allowing anybody to get inside. If you want to move out, he is telling these girls you can move out, but I am not allowing any girls to get inside. Okay, we'll agree. But he is of course he is a strict officer, but he is not fixed on his word. What is telling? Okay, I will allow you, but you just give me 1 rupee. You just give me some money. Then what these girls and boys are doing, they are giving some money to this watchman so that they have to do their work. They have to get inside or they have to go outside. So they are giving 1 rupee. 1 rupee means here in the biology, we can use the term ATP. ATP is nothing but our energy currency. Okay, so by giving 1 ATP to this watchman, 1 rupee, let's assume 1 rupee to this watchman, the two girls are getting inside. These 2 girls are getting inside, and these 3 boys are moving outside. Okay, but they are doing this against the concentration gradient. They are breaking the rules. Actually, this thing should not happen, but they are doing this by giving money to the watchman. Are you getting my point? Now, let's move on to our plasma membrane. This is the plasma membrane. Here is the lipid bilayer. Okay, and here is one gate or one protein is present. This is one protein. This protein channel is known as sodium-potassium pump. This is called sodium-potassium pump. That means through this channel, either sodium can move inside and outside or potassium can move inside and outside. This is called sodium-potassium pump. But actually, outside the cell membrane, there are more number of sodium are there. More number of sodium. Lot of sodium are present. But very, very less sodium are present inside. Like that, there are more number of potassium are present inside, more concentration of potassium inside, very less concentration of potassium outside. How this thing is possible? This is by the expenditure of 1 ATP. See what happened? Here also 1 ATP is taking place. That is expenditure of 1 ATP. ATP is converted into ADP. Energy will be released. With the help of this energy, the 2 potassium can get inside. Simultaneously, the 3 sodium can go outside. So this is how they are maintaining more concentration of sodium outside and more concentration of potassium inside. So remember, for 1 ATP, 3 sodium can go outside and 2 potassium can get inside through the protein channel. Okay, so this is against the rule. This is against the concentration gradient. That's why they are expanding with their energy. That is, expenditure of energy is taking place. ATP is used. Okay, so this is what the main difference between the facilitated diffusion, simple diffusion, or the active transport. Okay, simple diffusion is, it is not bothering about anybody. Any molecules can move inside or go outside depending on their concentration gradient, depending on the permeability of the membrane. And one more thing we have to remember here, what are the factors affecting the diffusion? It would be a neat question. Remember, make a note. The factors like permeability of the membrane. Okay, whether the lipid bilayer is permeable to the substance or not, whether it is a larger molecules or a smaller molecules, whether they can diffuse it. So that is what the factor affecting. That is the one thing. And temperature, pressure. Okay, temperature, pressure, permeability of the membrane. So these are the factors. At the same time, concentration gradient, whether there is a high concentration or the low concentration, because the molecules can move only from higher concentration to lower concentration. So these are the 4 points. Remember it and make a note. Okay, so these are the factors affecting diffusion. Right? Here the protein involvements not at all taking place. Whereas if you come to the facilitated diffusion and active transport, almost all they are balancing together. That means both are same. Even in active transport also, we are taking, the molecules are taking the help of a protein. There also in the facilitated diffusion, the molecules movement are taking place with the help of a protein. But in facilitated diffusion, they are following concentration gradient without expenditure of energy. But here, they are not following concentration gradient. They are against the concentration gradient with the expenditure of energy. That is, ATP is using. There, we didn't use the word that ATP has been used. Right? That is what the main difference between facilitated diffusion and active transport. ATP used, ATP do not used. Against the concentration gradient, along the concentration gradient. And remaining the factors almost are same. Okay, what are those factors? Here they are that means proteins can saturate it. Here also the proteins can saturate it. Here also these proteins are very sensitive to inhibitor. If any inhibitor come and binds here, it will not allow anybody to move. Okay, they are sensitive to inhibitor. Facilitated diffusion is also sensitive to inhibitor. Right? So these are certain points that you have to remember. There is a chart given in our NCERT that is a comparison of these diffusion, facilitated diffusion as well as the active transport. Once you go through this video, okay, you can easily understand the table, right? Okay, hope you understood this concept. Now we'll move on to water potential.